Good morning. Today we will discuss infection. What is infection? So the lodgement and multiplication of a parasite in the body is known as infection. All infections do not invariably result in disease. Types of infection. Infection may be classified in various types. Primary infection, reinfection. So primary infection, initial infection with a parasite in a host is known as primary infection. फर्स्ट टाइम जो इन्फेक्शन होता है तो प्राइमरी इन्फेक्शन बोलते हैं रीइन्फेक्शन सबसिक्वेंट इन्फेक्शन विद द सेम पैरासाइट इन द सेम होस्ट इज कॉल्ड रीइन्फेक्शन secondary infection when the primary infection lowers the resistance of the host and the later gets infected another organism is known as secondary infection cross infection when a patient already suffering from a disease acquire a new infection from another host or external source is called cross infection. Local infection. The term local infection indicates a condition where, due to infection or sepsis at localized sites, such as appendix or toxins, generalized effects are produced. Nosocomial infection. When cross infection is acquired by the patient during his stay in the hospital, it is known as hospital-acquired or nosocomial infection. Atherogenic infection. Atherogenic infection is defined as physician-induced infection resulting from investigative and operative procedure. Subclinical infection. When the clinical symptoms of an infection are not appearing, it is known as subclinical infection. Latent infection. After infection, some parasite may remain later or hidden from a host tissue and they proliferate and produce clinical disease. When the host resistance lowered, it is known as latent infection. Atypical infection. In this type of infection, the typical or characteristic clinical manifestation of the particular infection disease are not present. Source of infection. Reservoir. It refers to any human being, animal, plant, soil, or inanimate matter in which parasite normally lives, multiplies, and depends primarily for its survival. रिजर्वायर हमारा ह्यूमन बींग एनिमल प्लांट सॉइल और इन मैटर कुछ भी हो सकता है सोर्स ऑफ इन्फेक्शन में भी एंडोजीनियस सोर्स और एक्सोजीनियस सोर्स एंडोजीनियस सोर्स organism of normal flora are usually non-pathogenic but occasionally they behave as pathogens outside their habitat. E. coli, which are the normal flora of the intestine, may causes UTI. Exogenous. Most of the infections are exogenous in origin. Exogenous sources include human beings, animal, insect, soil, and water and food. The human being, the most common source of infection is man himself. The parasite may originate from a patient or a carrier. The carrier is a person who the microorganism without suffering from it ill effects. Carrier very important source of infection to spread the disease in a community. Animal. Many pathogens are capable of causing infection in both human beings and animal. Therefore, animal may act as source of infection of such organisms. These animals serve to maintain the parasite in nature. They are called reservoir hosts. Zoonosis. The infection and disease transmitted from animal to man are called zoonosis. Bacterial. Anthrax, brucellosis, bovine tuberculosis, and salmonella food poisoning. Animal. Soil and water. Some pathogens can survive in the soil for long periods. Spores of fitness or gas gangrene remain viable in the soil for source of infection. Water. Water may act as the source of infection either due to contamination with pathogenic microorganisms. Food. Contaminated food may act as a source of infection, causing food poisoning, gastroenteritis, and diarrhea. Mode of transmission of infection. Pathogen organism can spread from one host to another by a variety of mechanisms. This includes both contact. Infection may be carried by contact, which may be direct or indirect. Direct contact. Disease transmitted by direct contact include sexually transmitted diseases such as syphilis, gonorrhea, hepatitis B, and acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Indirect contact. Indirect contact may be through the agency of forms which are inanimate objects such as clothing, pencil, or toys, which may be contaminated by a pathogen from one person and act as a vehicle for its transmission to another. Inhalation. Respiratory infections such as common cold, influenza, measles, mumps, tuberculosis, and whooping cough are acquired by inhalation. Any intestinal infection are generally acquired by the ingestion of food or drink contaminated by pathogens. Infection transmitted by ingestion may be waterborne, foodborne, or food poison. Inoculation. The disease agent may be inoculated directly into the skin or mucosa. Rabies virus deposits some potentially by dog bite. Spores of Clostridium tetani are present in soil. Insect. Vector-borne. Vectors are arthropods or other invertebrate hosts. It play an important role in the spread of infection from one individual to another. Congenital. Some pathogens are able to cross the placental barrier and infection the fetus. This is known as vertical transmission. This results in abortion and stillbirth. Ectogenic and laboratory infection. It meticulous carrier is susceptible. Certain infection like AIDS and hepatitis may be sometimes may be transmitted during procedure, such as injection, lumbar puncture, blood transfusion, dialysis, and surgery. Types of infection disease. Infectious disease may be localized or generalized. Localized infection may be superficial or deep-seated. There is a acute inflammatory reaction at the site of invasion to arrest infection. Generalized bacteremia and septicemia. Bacteremia is the circulation of bacteria in blood, which is known as bacteria. Bacteremia longer duration is seen during generalized infection is a typhoid fever. Septicemia. It is the condition where bacteria circulate and multiply in the blood from toxic production and causes high Indian type of fever. Fine. It is condition where pyogenic bacteria produce septicemia with multiple abscess internal organs such as the spleen, liver, and kidney. Depending on the spread of infection disease community, they may be classified endemic, epidemic, and pandemic. Endemic, the disease which is constantly present in particular area. Example, typhoid fever is endemic in most part of India. Epidemic, the disease that spread rapidly involving many persons in a particular area at the same time is called epidemic. Example, meningococcal meningitis. Pandemic, it is an epidemic that spread through many areas of the world involving many large number of persons within a short period. Example, flora influenza and enteroviral conjunctivitis and COVID-19. Thank you.